People are always asking me in the comment section here and on Instagram, where did you learn all these things that you know? All the different intervallic ideas. Where did you come up with this stuff, or when did you learn all these things? I ended up taking off a semester from college. I've never talked about this on this channel. I don't know why, but this was really a pivotal thing. In '84, I graduated from Ithaca College with my undergrad in classical bass, and I went to New England Conservatory in Boston to get my master's in jazz guitar. The first week that I was there, many of you are familiar with this story, I met my friend Aydin Essen, a Turkish pianist who's one of the greatest improvisers I've ever heard. It was improvisations like that of Aydin that I recorded in '84 and '85 when we were playing together or just when we were hanging out, that not only was the basis of most of the things that I learned about harmony and improvisation, but they were also the things that I used and only played for my son Dylan before he was born and up until he was 2 years old, that developed his ear like this. I want you to name and sing these notes. So during my undergrad, even though I was a classical bass major, I had a guitar teacher named Steve Brown. And Steve was very important to my development as a musician. In the 4 years I studied with Steve, I recorded every single lesson. I still have all the tapes to this day. I would actually just play rhythm for Steve. He would solo, and then I would transcribe his solos. So after I left Ithaca College, once I graduated, I went and got my master's at New England Conservatory, like I said, and I studied with legendary guitar player and teacher Mick Goodrick. For those of you that don't know Mick played guitar in Gary Burton's band and was a big influence on Pat Metheny, who was the other guitar player in the band. And Mick is incredibly knowledgeable on harmony, especially on the guitar. I had all these things that I had wanted to incorporate in my playing, all these ideas that I'd kind of half started learning and getting under my fingers. A lot of intervallic playing, things like that, and really trying to coalesce into my own style. But I didn't have the time to practice. So I got a phone call from a buddy of mine from college. Jay Ashby, and he said, listen, I've got this big band that I'm going to go play in down in Aruba. It's a bunch of guys from Eastman. Jay went to Ithaca College with me. He says, it's a bunch of guys from Eastman, and it's an easy gig. It pays $500 a week, free room and board. You can live on the beach, all this stuff. And we're going to do 1 or 2 sets a night. So I go to my parents and say, I want to take a semester off from grad school. And they're like, what? No way. 2 of my brothers were getting married that summer in 1985. My brother Lou was getting married in May, and my brother Mike getting married in August. I really didn't have the money. I was on scholarship at New England Conservatory, but I didn't have much money, and my parents didn't have any money. So this was an opportunity to save money and take a semester off. My dad was like, you're never going to go back and finish your degree. And I said, I'm going to go back, Dad. I'm telling you. I'm going to go back. No, you're never going to go back. I know it. You should just stay in school. So anyways, I decided to go against what my parents thought. My mom was totally cool about it. She didn't care. If I wanted to go, that was fine. Knowing that if I went, I didn't have the resources to come back. I went to my brother Lou's wedding, but I didn't have the resources to come back for my brother Mike's wedding. So I told him, I said, I'm not going to go to I'm not going to be at your wedding. I mean, it's insane when I look back on it. My brother's still married, from then, from '85. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to Aruba. And they're like, oh, okay, fine. My family was totally cool. So I go down to Aruba. We get together as big band. This is a gig where we have to wear a tux every night, and we're playing in this Alhambra casino, right? And they had a ballroom, no air conditioning. All of us wearing tuxes, playing big band music from the 30s and 40s and things like that. Now, big band music is all rhythm guitar. Freddie Green, just all downstroke quarter notes. That's where I started developing all these drop voicings like that, because I just got bored playing the same voicings all the time. Because most of the people would be... And every night I would start to incorporate new voicings and work on them on the gig, because that's really where you learn stuff, is when you're playing gigs. Well, the first week there, we get word that there's an after-hours jazz club called the Adagio Cafe that opens at 2 a.m. and is open all night. And that's where everybody goes from the casinos and things like that, because Aruba is big with casinos. It was then. And people would go there and hang out after. And the owner of it, Pepe Gonzalez, his name was, believe it or not, was a jazz guitar player. So he had heard that there's this jazz band that came to town, and he invited us all down to the Adagio Cafe to hang out and jam. He had a whole bandstand there, a piano, a guitar amp, because he was a guitar player, very good guitar player. He had drums, he had everything, right? And so we would all go down and play, all the horn players, everything. We would go down there and play every night. We'd get there at 2 a.m., and start playing and play till 8 in the morning. And the place was packed every night. So I would be on stage from 2 a.m. until 8 a.m. every night, after I'd just done the gig playing with the big band. So we played with the big band from, let's say, 10 to 11:30 at night. Then I'd go back, go swimming in the pool at the hotel or something, eat, and then go out to the jazz club, bring my guitar down there, and I would play all night, playing standards, playing long jams. We would take solos, all of us, 10 minutes at a time. Just insanely long solos. But you're soloing, you're playing with a band the whole time. And we do really outside kind of stuff. Well, then I'd come back. I'd go to sleep for a couple hours. I'd get up, and I would practice for at least 4 hours. I had my cassette player. I had my notebook, my music notebook. I had those recordings of Steve. I had the recordings of Iden. I had recordings of my lessons with Mick. And I would transcribe stuff, write it down, and then I work on my own ideas. Then I'd probably go out and eat my lunch or so at 4 in the afternoon. I'd come back and practice. Many times we'd go through arrangements that we were going to do at the after hours club. So we'd do these small group arrangements, and I would write arrangements for people, like 3 horn arrangements. We'd have trumpet, sax, and trombone or something, and do original tunes, things like that. Go do the gig at the casino, at the hotel, get drenched in sweat in your tux, go change, go swimming in the pool, eat dinner, and then go to the after hours gig at 2 a.m. So the gig lasted from June of 1985 to November. It ended, I came back to New York to my folks' house, and then I went back to New England Conservatory to finish my degree, unlike what my dad thought. And I said to him, see, I'm going back to finish, which I did. That time period was unbelievably important in my development as a musician. Ear training, soloing, playing in an ensemble, playing with a big band, rhythm guitar every night, working on voicings, going out to these jazz gigs at night, sitting in, playing all night on stage for hours and hours and hours, playing with a full band, playing standards, getting to know these things. But there was no better experience. That's probably the most my playing ever developed. A lot of the ideas that I use to this day, and I've taught between here and my Instagram, I developed during that time period. The important thing to learn from this, or that I learned from that experience, is that you have to make the time to learn how to play, no matter what it is. If you're a player, if you're a music producer, if whatever you are in music, you have to spend the time. And if you want to develop your own sound, you have to work on it. Not only do you incorporate ideas from other people, but then you actually have to work on your own ideas and playing your own ideas. That's probably the most important thing, is that development of your own style, not copying someone else. That's all for now. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're a first-time viewer, ring the bell. That'll let you know when I go live and when a new video comes out. Give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. That's very important. If you're interested in the Beato book, go to my website at www.rickbeato.com. Follow me on Instagram at rickbeato1. Check out the new Beato ear training program at beatoeartraining.com. And if you want to support the channel even more, think about becoming a member of the Beato Club. Thanks for watching.